Let's continue our discussion of editing notes in Reason. It's very easy to duplicate any note just by option clicking and dragging. Again, control drag in Windows. But there may be times when I want to take some of my notes and put them on a separate lane. Let's say to separate out a bass part from a melody part. So it's very easy to do that. We just select the notes we want to move. Let's take these, pretend that's a bass. Control click or right click, and we can either move notes to a new lane or we can duplicate the notes to a new lane. Let's move them. And now we're looking at the new lane. Remember, we can only select one lane at a time. If I switch to the other lane, we'll see everything but those notes that we moved. And our choice was to move or to copy them. So I just undid that. We're back to our original lane. Now, copy, cut, and paste work really nicely in edit mode. And let me show you how that works. First, let me get rid of all of these notes for a moment. I just hit backspace. They're all gone. So let's start with these three notes. If I select them and press Command-C to copy them, you'll notice that the song position pointer moved to bar 4. My snap is set to bar, it moved to the next bar, and when I paste with Command-V, it's pasting at the next available bar. Let's change our snap value to quarter notes. Now you'll notice that the song position pointer is way out on bar 8. We don't need to worry about that. We just choose copy, Command-C, and the marker is positioned at the quarter note where there's not a note, the first quarter note available. So you can see it's very easy to duplicate notes according to our snap value. Now just to remind you, the commands for copying, cutting, and pasting are the same as they are in all Mac or PC applications. Command-C, V, and X, or for PCs, Control-C, V, and X. All right, let's look at one last thing, and that's the Tools menu. Remember, we can bring up the Tools menu with F8, and it will operate on any notes that I've selected. So I've got that one note selected right now. I bring up the tool window, and let's quantize it. We'll quantize this to the nearest, let's say, to the nearest bar. I apply, and it moves to the nearest bar. We can change velocities, we can change note lengths, we can even extract certain notes to lanes based on the note value. So there's a lot we can do from the tool menu, and it will operate on any notes that you've selected. Lastly, I'd like to talk about editing velocity, and we can edit it using the pencil tool. We choose a note. You can see there's the velocity, and if we switch to the pencil tool, we can just draw in the velocity by dragging or by clicking at a certain location. We can drag across a series of values, and I stay in velocity editing mode. Or if I hold down the Option key and drag, I can create a ramp. See how the velocity is ramped up? Let me solo this. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Let's try it a little more drastic. We'll bring it way up here. Okay. A little hard to tell with the sequence, but you can definitely see that the velocities are increasing. Now, if I only want the velocity to increase on certain notes, I can select those notes. Let's say these three, and these three. And then I can Shift Option drag or Shift Control drag in Windows, and it will only ramp velocities on the selected notes. The other ones will not be affected. So watch as I select the pencil tool and then Shift Option drag from the first note I selected to the last, and you can see that each group of 3 notes is ramping appropriately, but the other notes were not affected. And don't forget, you can always use the Tools menu to do much more complex things with velocity, scaling it and adding values to it, making it random, and so forth.